You can still have profoundly fulfilling sexual experiences even without penetration. Today's video is for all the men and women who either can't or simply don't want to engage in intercourse. And I want you to know that your intimate life doesn't have to suffer because of it. Hello, I'm Dr. Jocelyn. I'm a clinical sexologist, intimacy researcher, and relationships therapist. Welcome to my channel, where I share evidence-based insights about intimacy, relationships, and cultivating a deeply satisfying sexual connection, whether you're single or in a committed partnership. Today, we're addressing a topic that I consider absolutely essential, yet one that remains largely misunderstood. In my clinical practice, I work with countless couples whose primary concern is that for various reasons, they're unable to engage in penetrative intercourse. What I observe repeatedly is that these couples essentially abandon their sexual lives altogether. Their intimate connection simply ceases to exist. And this happens because, as a society, we've been conditioned to equate sexuality exclusively with penetration. This is a fundamental misconception that I want to help you unlearn today. In this video, I'm going to share with you a beautiful, scientifically grounded approach to achieving profound intimacy with your partner. One that allows you to experience deep erotic connection even when penetration isn't part of the equation. I want you to understand that what I'm about to teach you isn't a consolation prize or a lesser alternative. This is a complete, fulfilling, intimate experience in its own right. Understanding what we truly seek. Let's begin by examining what we're actually seeking when we come together with a partner in an intimate context. When I ask my clients this question, the answers are remarkably consistent across demographics and relationship types. We want depth. We want genuine connection. We want to feel fully present in our bodies and completely anchored in the current moment, free from the anxieties, responsibilities, and mental noise that typically occupy our minds. We want pleasure. Certainly, we want ecstasy. We want that transcendent feeling of releasing control, of dissolving boundaries, of merging with ourselves, with our partner, perhaps with something greater than both. Here's what I need you to understand. Every single one of these experiences is entirely accessible to you without penetrative intercourse. Not one of these profound states requires penetration to achieve. This is both clinically documented and experientially verifiable. So let me share with you a practice that addresses all of these fundamental human needs. One that allows you to connect deeply with your partner, maintain a vibrant, intimate life, and experience profound erotic fulfillment without penetration. The integrated sensual practice. Think of this approach as a synthesis of several powerful modalities. Energy work, similar to Kundalini practices, intentional touch and massage techniques, meditative presence, and conscious breath work. When these elements are combined thoughtfully, they create conditions for an absolutely transformative erotic experience. In this practice, one partner serves as the giver while the other receives. The giver offers what I call a sensual touch experience. And I want to be very precise about this terminology because it's important to distinguish what we're doing from other forms of physical contact. When I say sensual, I am explicitly not referring to the type of massage you might receive at a spa or wellness center. This is not a therapeutic massage designed to address muscular tension. This is not a deep tissue treatment that focuses on physical rehabilitation. And this is not simply a relaxing massage intended to induce drowsiness. What we're creating is fundamentally different. A sensual touch experience engages the entire body, including all those areas that rarely receive intentional touch in everyday life, as well as the erogenous zones that we typically associate with sexual activity, including the genitals. For this practice to achieve its full potential, I recommend that both partners be completely unclothed. Expanding the vocabulary of touch. Now we want to incorporate the full spectrum of intimate physical expression. This means adding elements like kissing, not just on the lips, but across the entire body. It means teasing, creating anticipation, building and releasing tension. It includes licking, gentle biting, the kind of physical expression that distinguishes a lover's touch from any other form of contact. I also want you to consider how you can maximize body-to-body contact. This primarily involves what I describe as sliding, using your own body as an instrument of pleasure against your partner's skin. The greater the surface area of contact, the more intense and sensual the experience becomes. This activates the entire nervous system and creates a full body awareness that enhances every subsequent sensation. Additionally, consider incorporating various textures and sensory elements. Feathers can create exquisite, barely there sensations. Different fabrics, silk, velvet, soft cotton, each produce distinct neurological responses. You might even incorporate food, feeding your partner as part of the experience, engaging the senses of taste and smell alongside touch. A practical note: when using feathers and fabrics, you'll want to avoid oil during those portions of the experience. However, when you transition to body sliding, oil becomes essential, and I recommend using generous amounts. Quality massage oil or coconut oil creates the slip necessary for fluid movement and heightens the sensual quality of skin-to-skin contact. The 3 foundational principles. Now, let me outline the 3 core principles that transform this from a pleasant experience into a profoundly transformative one. Principle 1, radical presence. The first and most important principle is complete presence. When I say presence, I mean that nothing else exists for you in this moment except the experience you are creating with your partner. You are not thinking about work. You are not planning tomorrow. You are not evaluating performance. You are simply here, fully focused on the sensations you are giving or receiving. One of the most effective techniques for achieving this state of heightened presence is to bring your complete awareness to exactly where your body meets your partner's body. If your hand is touching your partner's arm, your entire consciousness is focused on that precise point of contact. Nothing else exists. This single-pointed attention is what meditation practitioners call dharana, and it's remarkably powerful. Presence is not a tangible thing you can measure, but its effects are profound. This is what creates safety. This is what builds trust. This is what allows both partners to surrender their defenses and drop deeply into embodied experience. Your partner will feel the difference between distracted touch and present touch. Even if they can't articulate how they know, it makes all the difference. Principle 2, conscious breathing. The second principle involves breath, specifically deep mouth-based breathing, particularly for the receiving partner. In traditional meditation practices, we typically breathe through the nose because nasal breathing calms the nervous system and quiets the mind. But in this context, we want the opposite effect. We want to build energy. We want to activate the body. We want to heighten sensation. Mouth breathing accomplishes this. Deep inhales through the mouth, followed by full exhales through the mouth, creates what we might call an energetic charge in the body. This breathing pattern activates the sympathetic nervous system in a controlled way, increases oxygen flow, and allows energy to build and move through the body. I encourage the receiving partner to take deep, audible breaths throughout the experience. This isn't about hyperventilating. It's about conscious, intentional breathing that adds vital energy to the body, activates dormant sensation pathways, and allows that activated energy to circulate and move. Principle 3, the giver's pleasure. The third principle is specifically for the partner in the giving role, and it addresses something I see constantly in my practice. The giver must find genuine pleasure in giving. Too often I observe givers who are so focused on their partner's experience that they completely disconnect from their own. They're thinking, I'm giving, I'm giving, I'm giving. When is it my turn? What about my needs? This mental state fundamentally undermines the experience because it pulls you out of presence and into a transactional mindset. When you're calculating what you're owed, when you're measuring your contribution against future reciprocation, you cannot be fully present. And without presence, you cannot offer the quality of touch that creates transformation. The solution is learning to source your own pleasure from the act of giving. This requires a shift in perspective. Rather than viewing yourself as depleting your resources for your partner's benefit, recognize that giving itself can be a profound source of fulfillment. The giver should finish this experience feeling filled, not emptied. You should feel nourished by the intimacy you've created, not drained by service you've rendered. When you can genuinely experience pleasure in giving, when touching your partner's body brings you joy, when their responses create satisfaction in you, when the act of worship is itself rewarding, then the entire dynamic transforms. You're no longer a servant waiting for your compensation. You're a full participant in a shared experience. Understanding male and female activation patterns. Now, I want to address something clinically significant, the different ways energy tends to move in male and female bodies. This isn't absolute. There's significant individual variation, but understanding these general patterns can dramatically improve your practice. For the male body, when a man is receiving this experience, you typically want to begin with full body touch to create overall activation. But you don't want to linger there excessively. Relatively quickly, you want to bring attention to the genitals, activate sexual energy there, and then consciously spread that energy back through the entire body. The pattern is general activation, genital focus, distribution. For the female body, the pattern is essentially reversed. Women generally need their entire body activated first. You want to move from the periphery toward the center, from outer extremities gradually inward toward the genitals. I advise my clients to touch the genitals literally as the last area of the body. Before genital contact, you want to have activated every single centimeter of her body. Every finger, every toe, the backs of the knees, the inner arms, the neck, the scalp. Only after this comprehensive awakening should genital touch be introduced. This difference reflects how sexual energy tends to circulate differently in male and female physiology. When you honor these patterns, both partners are able to drop much more deeply into the experience and access its full potential. Releasing goal orientation. Here is something absolutely crucial that I need you to understand. Orgasm is not the goal of this experience. I cannot emphasize this strongly enough. We must release any attachment to outcome. We must abandon the pressure of goal orientation. The entire point is to be fully present in the moment, and you cannot be present when you're focused on a future outcome. You are not trying to give your partner an orgasm. You are not trying to achieve an orgasm yourself. If orgasm happens, wonderful, but it is not something we are chasing or working toward. The experience itself is complete without it. Similarly, it doesn't matter whether a woman experiences vaginal lubrication. It doesn't matter whether a man achieves or maintains an erection. These physiological responses are not indicators of success or failure. This is a completely free experience, and we want to allow our bodies to respond in whatever way feels authentic in each moment. When we release these expectations, something remarkable happens. We create space for responses that are far more varied, surprising, and ultimately satisfying than the predictable patterns we've been conditioned to expect. Duration and frequency. If you truly want to access the deeper dimensions of this practice, I recommend dedicating a minimum of 30 minutes to the experience. 45 minutes to an hour is even more ideal, as it allows the nervous system to fully settle and the energy body to fully activate. However, even if you don't have that much time available, engaging in this way for just 15 minutes can be profoundly valuable. It maintains erotic connection between partners. It keeps the intimate spark alive. It prevents the drift into roommate dynamics that so many long-term couples experience. The consistency matters more than the duration. Regular, brief connections are more valuable than occasional, lengthy sessions. This practice, engaged in regularly, fundamentally transforms how you relate to your partner and to your own sexuality. What this practice creates. Let me explain what this practice actually does at both the physical and energetic levels. First, it activates your entire body. Not just the physical tissue, but what we might call the energy body or the subtle body. We are awakening dormant sensation pathways, increasing circulation, heightening nerve sensitivity across the entire system. This activation frequently produces a profound heart opening. Many people report experiences of unconditional love during or after this practice, moments of feeling completely connected to their partner without reservation or condition. These glimpses of unconditional love deepen the bond between partners in ways that purely genital-focused sexuality rarely achieves. Second, because energy is moving freely through the body, deep healing often occurs. You may feel what some traditions call Kundalini activation, the movement of primal energy through the spine and energy centers. You may begin to shake involuntarily. You may laugh unexpectedly. You may cry. All of these responses are beautiful and healthy. They indicate that energy is moving freely through your system, releasing stored tension and emotion. Third, and I want to be clear that this is not the goal, but rather a possible outcome, you may experience what's called a full-body energy orgasm. This is distinct from genital orgasm. It's a wave of pleasure and release that moves through the entire body, often more intense and more satisfying than conventional orgasm. This tends to occur when you are deeply relaxed, genuinely vulnerable, fully surrendered to the experience, and when significant energy has been activated and circulated. Expanding your understanding of sexuality. As you can see, there is an enormous territory of intimate experience available to you, even when penetration isn't possible or desired. This is one of the most important things I help my clients understand. Sexuality is so much broader and more varied than we've been taught to believe. You can be profoundly sexual, deeply, satisfyingly, transcendently sexual without penetration. Your sexuality isn't defined by or limited to intercourse. It encompasses your entire capacity for pleasure, connection, energy, and embodied experience. When we expand our understanding of what sexuality actually is, we liberate ourselves from arbitrary limitations. We stop feeling broken when penetration isn't available. We stop feeling like we're missing out or settling for less. We recognize that what we have access to is complete in itself. Closing thoughts. I truly hope this video has been valuable for you. If it has, please consider giving it a like. It helps more people discover this information who may desperately need it. And if you'd like more content exploring these topics, please subscribe to my channel. I release new evidence-based content on intimacy, relationships, and sexual wellness every week. Thank you so much for being here today and for your commitment to deepening your intimate life. I'll see you in the next video.